Welcome to Doctor's House Call. This is your chance to get in gear with Dr. Gear, a duly trained naturopathic medicine doctor and doctor of chiropractic, board certified in family medicine and minor surgery. Brought to you by Payson Health and Wellness Center at 801 East Highway 260 every Tuesday afternoon from 5 to 6, live on KMOG. You can call in now and speak to the doctor at 474-2427 with any questions, or after the show, call Dr. Gear during regular office hours, 474-7409.
And welcome to another edition of Doctor's House Call. I'm your host, Chuck Holland. And with me today, of course, is Dr. Weyrich. And Doctor's House Call is brought to you by Payson Health and Wellness Center. They're located at 801 East Highway 260, right here in Payson. And their phone number, 928-474-7409. Well, another edition of Doctor's House Call on KMOG 103.3. And, of course, you can pick us up on the web around the globe at KMOGcountry.com. And if you'd like to become part of the show, well, our phone lines are open at 474-2427. So let's get going with Doctor's House Call. Good afternoon, Dr. Weyrich. Great to see you.
Good afternoon.
So, what do we got cooking here for this edition of Doctor's House Call?
Well, on the agenda are naturopathic pearls. We're going to talk about far infrared saunas. What is truth section? We're going to talk about the Framingham studies and the curious case of declining Alzheimer's cases.
Interesting.
And what's new in medicine? We're going to talk about another new COVID pill. And finally, we'll talk about you and your spine, the care of your spinal discs. We're going to have a very special guest caller calling in just a minute. And so she's going to be sharing with us her experience with far infrared saunas, which is a topic that I studied in naturopathic medical school. It's very useful. Saunas are very useful in detoxifying the body of environmental toxins. It's also been used in many cases.
Well, looks like she's on the line. Shall we go to the phone?
Yes. Please introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, and welcome to Doctor's House Call.
Hi, it's Dr. Hope Kelman. Hello.
Hello. How are you this morning, or this afternoon, actually? I'm still on morning time.
Wonderful. Thank you for having me.
Okay.
Great. Well, I'm grateful to be here, and we're bringing the Relax Sauna to Payson, to Dr. Orville's clinic, and we're going to actually have an open house on Wednesday and Thursday for people who are listening who would like to come and experience it. It's a tremendous alternative protocol for detoxing the body. It works with weight loss, and it's also very beneficial for pain reduction.
Yes. So the particular device that you're referring to is called a far infrared sauna, or IR sauna. What are the different kinds of saunas, and what makes this one special?
This one generates light and works with water molecules, so it's portable. It folds up to the size of a dining room table, and it has a generator inside of it. It's not like a steam sauna or rock sauna. It works on elevating your natural immunity through heating your biological response about 3 degrees. So it takes 5 minutes for it to warm up, and your body temperature can raise approximately 3 degrees in 20 minutes. And that has shown to be very effective in healing the body from toxic exposure, helping the body fight flus and infections, and helping to detox chemicals that are difficult to get out of the body.
Okay, and this sauna is special because it is a far infrared sauna. And for the listeners out in radio land that don't know what I mean by far infrared, let me explain a little bit about the electromagnetic spectrum. The electromagnetic spectrum ranges all the way from KMOG's AM radio station is relatively low frequency or very long wavelength, up through citizens band and up to cell phone. And then we get to far infrared, which has more energy than any of these previous devices that I mentioned. And then near infrared, and then we see red light. So far infrared has less energy than red light, but it's special in that the particular wavelength of far infrared light, electromagnetic radiation, is that it makes water molecules vibrate in a particular way that generates heat, which is what Dr. Hope was referring to as causing a lot of the benefits of the far infrared. Dr. Hope, would you add some more?
What's so special, that was very well said, what's so special about this technology is that hundreds of people have tried it and used it, and it's been effective with neuropathy, it's been effective with thyroid, weight loss issues, depression, anxiety. I mean, it really has helped multiple individuals recover their own health. And what it does is it activates the parasympathetic nervous system. So when you're under a lot of stress, your vagus nerve, which you know is the main function of your wellness, gets stressed, and your parasympathetic nervous system, when it's moving into a place of relaxation, the body can begin to heal itself. And really, the capacity for the body to self-heal is one of our greatest medicines. But we have to get out of our own way and activate our parasympathetic nervous system. So this technology helps you to get balanced and go into a state, and there's brainwave states that helps you move into theta states of awareness, so your body can begin to self-heal. But what I wanted to say also, and I've seen this remarkably personally, is that it works on wrinkles for women. It is so much, in my opinion, better than toxic Botox or something. I've watched women get in this, and in one session, their face wrinkles begin to recover. And I can't tell you scientifically why that happens, but I've taken before and after pictures and seen remarkable benefits for women around this issue.
And we have another caller. Caller, please go ahead.
This is Philip Wilson with Relax Saunas calling.
Hi, welcome to the show.
So here I am. I can answer any questions on the history or the benefits of far infrared energy and far infrared saunas, and I can talk about why the Relax Sauna is a particularly good far infrared sauna for people to use to get lots of benefits for detoxification, for relaxation, for getting rid of stress and anxiety, and for energy, for getting tuned in and grounded.
Yes, Dr. Coleman was telling us about the benefits, but we are offering in our office free treatments with the sauna for anyone who wants to come in to our office, and you can experience that for yourself. We recommend that you wear cotton clothing that will absorb moisture well, and plan to go home and take a shower afterwards, so that if your skin expresses out toxins, that you can absorb them into the cotton and then wash it away. And we'll be offering 10-minute or so treatments that we don't expect you to break out a whole lot of a sweat at that time period, but it is very effective, and you will get a taste for it. And if you really like it, you can tell us that, and we'll consider making it a permanent part of our offerings at Pace and Health and Wellness, as well as some people have in the past expressed an interest in actually buying one of these units for home use.
Wow, fantastic.
what's so great about them is that, many people like saunas, but they take so much space. This is very portable. It folds up and you can put it in your closet. So it's the size of a suitcase. It actually can fit in a suitcase. So when you're not using it, it doesn't take up a lot of room.
Yes, and some people find that it's useful to do many times a week. There's some benefit in once or twice a week, but doing it more often is beneficial. And this is a little bit different from the Icelandic type of sauna, where it's steam on hot rocks and then you go jump into the icy lake every day. But that is a very stimulating to the immune system. But this is a dry heat, which actually studies have shown is more effective at stimulating the immune system than the damp saunas.
Dr. Sherry Rogers wrote a book in 2001, 2002, documenting her research on far infrared saunas. She was a environmental medical doctor out of the Syracuse, New York area, and hundreds of her patients, hundreds of people came to her with chemical sensitivities, environmental concerns, pretty much left to dead by the medical community, and she was able to get them working and functioning quite well using far infrared saunas. And she spawned an industry by writing that book, Detoxify or Die. And
Yes.
she says that the only way to get plastics out of the body, this may or may not be true, but this is what she said, is using far infrared saunas. And the best way to get heavy metals out is using far infrared saunas.
Yes, and I'll be talking about detoxifying more after this segment. I have a lot of other topics, but again, on my website, drweyrich.com, drweyrich.com, there is a link to the website of Relax Sauna down at the bottom of my webpage for tonight's radio show. And if you click on that, you can see the manufacturer's website, and also notice that there is a $100 discount if you want to actually buy one using the code PHW.
Yeah.
But I mostly encourage people to come by and try it and see if you like it.
It's phenomenal and is different than any other kind of experience. It is not a sauna. It is a healing energy device. It's a medical technology, and it uses healing light that you cannot see that resonates with your water molecules, and that's the secret. Because when it resonates with your molecule, it creates the amplitude, and as we were talking about earlier, it causes the water to bend, so the water molecules get smaller, so the blood cells get smaller, and it has an incredible, amazing difference in the increase in microcirculation, which gets rid of inflammation, pain, neuropathy, and so much more.
Yes, blood circulation is so important for neuropathy, as we've been talking about on the air previously.
Oh, good. It's amazing what 5 to 7 minutes in the relaxed sauna can do for a person. We have been doing conferences, medical doctor conferences, and expos for the last 19 years. And I've seen about 10 or 20,000 minor or major miracles of people, their arthritis pain going from a 12 to a 0. There's a man who was in a motorcycle accident 3-4 years ago. He got in the relaxed sauna, and his pain has been a constant 6 for 3 or 4 years. He got it down to a 3 and instantly bought the sauna because nothing he's ever done has gotten the pain to reduce. We also had a lady with carpal tunnel pain of 5 for 5 months. She got in the relaxed sauna, and in 5 or 6 minutes, all gone. I have seen, so you don't even have to sweat. You can just go in the sauna. We call it a light wave relaxed sauna treatment for 5 to 10 minutes with your clothes on, no sweating, and you'll be amazed. It's this energy medicine. It's almost like basking in divine love, or being in the presence of unconditional love, or being hugged by your loving grandma. You feel warm, you feel safe, you feel and you feel tuned in. And when you're tuned in, magic happens. You feel energized and relaxed at the same time.
There's a lot of naturopathic solutions that can help you and your family and your loved ones. Thanks for your time, Dr. Orville.
You're most welcome. And let me just say in closing that I've had my eye on this device for a number of years when I go to medical conferences and said, gee, I wish I could get one of those for my practice. And Dr. Hope came by and made it possible for me to have one in the office so that everyone here in Payson can experience it. Originally, my plan for the show tonight was to talk about the relationship between environmental toxicity and Alzheimer's disease.
Mm-hmm.
And I read works by a number of very famous Alzheimer treatment doctors, one being Al Sears, and he drew a connection between Alzheimer's disease and increase in Alzheimer's disease and increase in environmental toxicity. So I said, yeah, that's a great topic for the show tonight.
Mm-hmm.
But I do my homework. And I started to look for documentation about how Alzheimer's is increasing.
Mm-hmm.
And there's very little published that actually measures Alzheimer's incident rate in the proper way. The one study that I found that was really compelling is part of the Framingham study. Now, the Framingham study is a very famous study that started in 1948 in the city of Framingham, Massachusetts, which is a suburb of Boston. And the study was what's called a cohort study, where they enrolled something like 8,000 citizens of Framingham into what's called a longitudinal study, where they studied them over many years, and they didn't do any interventions, they just asked questions. And so this study has been going on now for 3 generations of citizens in Framingham, and they're measuring what did you eat, and then 20, 30 years later, did you have a heart attack, and that kind of thing. And this study is the study that really put cardiology on the map so far as trying to associate cholesterol with heart attacks and all the other possible markers for heart attacks. But this study is very flexible, and they ask a lot of questions, and population that participates has grown over the years. And bottom line is they have 3 generations of data on the correlation between people's lifestyle and lab tests and eventual disease status. And one of the things that they looked at one point is Alzheimer's disease. And they did something different from all the other studies, published studies that I've seen on Alzheimer's disease. They said instead of just counting how many Alzheimer's patients there are, and everybody knows that the number of Alzheimer's patients is increasing over time, but people are getting older over time too. So I'm not sure what that means. Conventional wisdom of most experts, consensus, if you will, is that Alzheimer's is becoming more and more of a problem because the environment is getting dirtier and dirtier and dirtier. Okay, so that's conventional wisdom. But what the Framingham study shows is that if you look at people age 65 to 70, for example, and just focus on that category, over the past 3 decades or so, the incidence of Alzheimer's as a percentage of that age group in Framingham that participated in the study is going down significantly, clinically significantly, statistically significantly. So Alzheimer's is actually, at least in Framingham, becoming less of a problem for any particular age bracket. Now, our population is aging, and so there's more and more older people, and the older you get, the more likely it is that you have Alzheimer's. But at any particular age bracket, the risk is going down in Framingham. So what does that say about environmental toxicity and its relationship to Alzheimer's disease? I don't know.
Yeah.
This is one study. It's a very, very well-done study, and very famous study. This is an outgrowth of a very famous study that is ongoing, but it says something completely different from what I was expecting to see and share with our radio audience tonight. So, what do you think?
Yeah, that is that's very interesting. I would, I'm sure as well as others would assume that the rise of incidence of Alzheimer's, with more diagnosis and all of that, that it would surely be on the rise, if nothing more than just because of the ability to diagnose it a little better now.
Yes, so ability to diagnose it is improving, so you would expect to have more cases,
Right.
just like when you measure more people, test more people for COVID, you find more cases.
Right.
So that is going in the wrong direction. If you assume that the environment is getting dirtier, that's going in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Maybe the environment actually is getting cleaner. I don't know. There's so many environmental alarmists out there that say that we're killing ourselves, we're poisoning ourselves.
And killing the planet.
Yes, but on the other hand, the EPA is every year enacting more and more strict environmental controls, so maybe the controls are working and the environment is getting cleaner and people are getting healthier. Or maybe it's because medicine is more effective at treating people age 65 to 70, for example, and their overall health is improving, and therefore their susceptibility to Alzheimer's and all other diseases is going down. So who knows? It's something to keep an eye on, and we'll keep you updated.
Yeah.
And so that's our What is Truth segment for tonight. And honestly, I don't know what the truth is in this case. But I believe it was Mark Twain that said that my opinion is based on what I know now. I will change my opinion when what I know changes.
Right.
So there's that. And by the way, on my website, if you go to the multimedia archive for tonight, there are links to the Framingham Heart Study and a couple other articles describing what I just talked about. And then there are some other links talking about the role of environmental contaminants in Alzheimer's disease, which I'm not going to talk about tonight because, as I just said, I'm not sure what it means at this point. Our website again is drweyrich.com. And go to the Multimedia Archive. You'll see a link near the top of the webpage. Next topic, another new COVID pill. And this one is from Pfizer. And it's very different from the one we talked about a couple of weeks ago. The one we talked about a couple of weeks ago wasn't all that effective in the testing, about 30% effective in the most recent studies. And there were concerns that it would promote mutation of the virus because it directly interfered with the copying of the viral RNA in a way that would promote mutations. So this pill from Pfizer, which is also to be used not to prevent COVID, but to treat patients
treatment of COVID
in order to try to keep them out of the hospital.
Got it.
And this one is, according to Pfizer, much more effective. It's over 90% effective in some of the trials that they're doing.
Oh, wow.
And it works in a different way, whereas the first pill that we talked about a couple weeks ago worked by interfering with RNA copying of the virus. This interferes with the processing of viral protein. So the RNA is converted by our host cells into protein, but then the viral particle carries enzyme that is supposed to cut apart the protein made by our host cells into the pieces that need to be available to make new copies of the virus. And so that is a protease, is the type of enzyme, and this particular drug interferes with the protease activity. And if the virus can't make its protein, it can't reproduce. So it doesn't have quite the risk of mutations as the previous pill. It's not quite as well along in the development. It's not yet been released, approved, but it sounds very promising. And I will say, though, that over time, the virus may mutate to become immune to this or resistant to this drug, as all infectious agents have a tendency over time to mutate to strains that resist our medications.
Right.
So
we all knew that COVID would mutate. We just didn't know how badly or how much it would. But
yes, and we're still learning. But one thing I will say about viruses in general and bacteria in general, the ones that are most successful are the ones that don't kill the host. If a virus kills the host, it doesn't have as much opportunity to spread itself.
Right.
So the tendency is, when we have mutations, for them to become less virulent, less toxic, less fatal, rather than more fatal as they're mutating, because they're moving towards something that helps them survive better. They want to have a living host that they can live in and reproduce in. They don't want a dead host that
kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah. Don't muddy the water you drink in.
Right.
But all of these antimicrobial agents will mutate over time and become drug resistant. And we have a terrible problem with antibiotics at this point. It's MRSA and many bacteria are very dangerous as well, and we're running out of options to treat them because they've mutated to become resistant to most of our medications, most of our antibiotics.
Ooh.
So there's always the concern that a mutation could become worse, but COVID, the best understanding of where it came from is that it was made in a laboratory, and it was designed to be bad news for humans. And so the initial design was not good for the virus. So as it mutates, it probably will become less and less virulent and go back more towards the innocuous coronaviruses that have been causing colds symptoms for years. But that's just a hypothesis at this point. I'm not going to say that that's true, but it's the way I sort of expect things to play out over time.
We can always hope.
Yes.
But yeah, it seems, with the Omicron variant now, you hear a lot less cases of fatal.
Yes.
Of this thing being terminal, and more so just kind of an irritant. It's supposedly easier to catch. But,
it's more successful in
right.
spreading itself.
Right.
But in order to be more successful, perhaps it has to be less virulent.
Less fatal, yes.
That's another segment. Go on to our next topic, which is you and your spine, talking about the care of your spinal discs. So the discs are the little donuts that are in between the vertebrae of your spine from your head down to your tailbone, and they cushion the spine so that when you walk it doesn't jar things, and they hold what are called the neuroforamina open, the intervertebral holes that are between each two vertebrae segments. Nerves come out of those, and if the hole gets smaller, for example, because the disc collapses or degenerates, that's called degenerative disc disease, then you have a tendency to get spinal pain and what's called radiculopathy. And it's very painful. And so you want to keep your discs healthy. So how do you do that? Well, moving around helps maintain the discs. Avoiding tobacco products helps maintain the discs, because tobacco products tend to reduce the blood flow to the discs. And when they don't get enough blood flow, they tend to shrivel up and die. And your vertebrae become closer and closer together, and you lose height. Some patients lose 2 or 3 inches of height over the course of their lifetime. And that's because their discs are in distress. So what do we do if you have distressed discs? Keeping moving helps pump blood into the area, and therefore it benefits the discs. But over time, people tend to, if they're not maintaining flexibility, they're getting stiff, their back is getting stiff, they're forming scar tissue that prevents the spine from flexing well. That reduces the ability of these discs to be pumped. And pumping the discs is part of what is necessary to maintain blood flow and to allow the toxins to leave the area and flow back in through the liver to be detoxified. And so how do you pump more? First example is stretching exercises. Walking is excellent. Anything that moves the spine. But if your spine is getting all locked up, what do? Well, you could go to yoga class, and that's one way, but if you're all stiff and going into yoga class, it may not be the most comfortable thing, and it may not be the most effective. I've talked previously about ultrasound as a way of breaking up scar tissue, and so regular application of ultrasound to the area of the vertebrae that is locked up can help loosen things up. Spinal manipulation, sometimes called chiropractic care, but it's done by myself, who's a naturopath. It's done by doctors of osteopathy, DOs, and various other practitioners also do spinal manipulation of various kinds. And one of the goals of spinal manipulation is to restore flexibility. And if you restore the flexibility, then the discs get better nourishment and don't deteriorate as fast. And another problem that people have sometimes is what's called a bulging disc, where the disc sort of excretes out, bulges into the intervertebral foramen, the neuroforamen, and puts pressure on the nerves. And again, that's a pain generator. And a lot of people think that if they're diagnosed with a bulging disc, that, I've got to have back surgery. Nothing could be further from the truth. Bulging discs, if treated in the proper way, very often will resolve, and your disc won't bulge anymore. And for that kind of treatment, you want to use some kind of traction that pumps, called distraction, that pumps the discs and helps restore fluid flow into them, blood flow into them. And we do have a number of techniques for doing that at Patient Health and Wellness. One technique was specifically developed by Dr. Gear for his own benefit, because as a young adult, he had a number of indiscretions in his athletic performance, shall we say, and had some severe damage to his spine. And he's been working for a long time to restore spinal function, and he says that he's found a chiropractor that can help him, but this table was developed by him to treat him. And it's very effective, and it can be done in a very dynamic way. What I mean by that is it's a lot of force, can be a little bit scary to people, or it can be done as a gentle pumping, which is what I prefer to do when I'm treating patients. But it's effective one way or the other. And so we offer that treatment.
Last week on our radio show, part of it was not recorded due to technical difficulties, and so today we will present ultrasound, diathermy, and other related topics. The word diathermy comes from the Greek and basically means to heat through. We use diathermy to warm the spine and improve blood flow in the spine and other internal parts of the body. And the diathermy unit we use is basically like a shortwave radio transmitter running about 150 watts at about 11 meters or 27 megahertz in that region. So it's basically a citizens band radio.
that heats the body gently, using same kind of effect as what you get with microwave, but not as intense. And it's well tolerated, again, by people. Does have some limitations. If you have a pacemaker, you don't want to be getting diathermy because it would mess with the pacemaker.
No, don't want that.
Which is the same precaution that you would take. Don't go near a microwave oven that's working if you have a pacemaker.
Right.
But it is used to treat either the spine, to get blood flowing throughout the spine, which is good for any cause of pain that is due to blood stagnation. Neuropathies respond well to diathermy because it helps get the blood flowing to the tissues that doesn't have enough blood flow. And again, the treatment is 15 minutes in duration. We can also apply it to other places besides the spine. For example, we've had patients with knee problems or shoulder problems or foot problems, and we have special adapter devices that allow us to treat these areas of the body as well. And again, as far as I know, we are the only office in the Payson area that has one of these devices.
Well, that's a good thing to know for sure.
So I just say that because we actually have patients that do not receive spinal manipulation from us, but who come in just for the what we call the modalities.
Yeah.
So ultrasound is a vibratory treatment that is similar to what is used by a jeweler to clean rings. So a jeweler will have a little bath that vibrates at a high frequency, higher than what you can hear, higher than dogs can hear, but it vibrates the water in this case, and a ring that's put in it, all the crud that is stuck in the little crevices of the ring vibrate away, and it's very effective at that. In medicine, similar technology is used. If we're treating a foot, for example, we actually put the foot in a water bath and put the ultrasound probe in the water bath, and it will transmit to all aspects of the irregularly shaped foot. But on the back of the spine, for example, we have a probe that we can just put a lubricating jelly that transmits sound through it on the patient's back, and then we apply this wand that we move back and forth, and it applies the ultrasound energy to the areas of the spine that are locked up, and it helps reduce the scar formation, and it also helps reduce swelling in the area, and swelling produces pain as well. And another benefit of doing this is if I'm going to do a spinal manipulation where I'm trying to move the vertebrae, if there's a lot of swelling, then it's harder for me to move the vertebrae, which means I can't give as good of a treatment if the vertebrae are resisting me because they're all swollen up. Mm-hmm. So combination of the spinal manipulation with ultrasound to break things up is very effective.
So how does the ultrasound differ from, I don't know the exact proper term, but I've had it myself where it's the electro massaging, where the doctor uses like a little handheld thing that runs over your back, and it gives
a Skinar device is what I have. A Skinar device in my office that is actually Soviet Union technology that they developed for their space program because they needed a treatment modality that wouldn't introduce a lot of drugs into their recycled water.
Wow.
So I have that technology. Mm-hmm. It's a difference. The Skinar device is also similar to a TENS unit. They actually both technically are TENS units, which means transcutaneous, across the skin. electrical stimulation, electroneurostimulation, stimulating the nerves by electricity.
Right.
So that is addressing the nerves directly. It's not addressing congestion. It's not addressing scar tissue.
Okay.
So it's beneficial, and it has benefits similar to acupuncture in many ways.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to get treatments like that back in the day. Gosh, this was early to mid 80s when I was driving race cars professionally, and the team paid for a physical therapist, and whenever we were in town, I would go and see this guy, and I would first he'd put me in traction for gosh, I don't know how long. It was probably 15, 30 minutes, maybe something like that.
That was fixed traction? Or did it pump back and forth?
It pumped back and forth. It was hooked around my chin, and it was like on a rotating cam, so it would gently pull on my neck and then release.
We have technology like that in our office that is combined with a roller table, so at the same time your neck is being alternately pulled on and released. Your spine is being flexed to help mobilize the scar tissue. And that's one of our what we call modalities.
Well, boy, I tell you, it felt great.
Yes,
I used to really look forward to those sessions with that guy, and that's kind of a commentary on my driving skills, because I didn't crash a lot, but I crashed enough to make it hurt. So yeah. But those sessions were great. But I remember doing that, and then when we were done with that, I'd roll over on my stomach, and then he'd do that electro thing, all over on my back, and it was a weird sensation. It didn't hurt, but it was just, it's hard to describe. It was kind of a weird sensation. Yeah. But I felt like $1 million, man, when I walked out of his office, for sure.
Yes, we have other technologies as well. That we have what's called a G5 massage machine, which is sort of like an orbital sander that the head rotates back and forth like an orbital sander, but instead of sandpaper, we have a soft rubber head that gently massages the back, usually, but neck, anywhere that you have a lot of muscle tension, this could be very useful.
Yeah. I've got a pneumatic orbital sander. It's a DA. Maybe I can tape a washcloth on it and have my wife go at it with me.
You want something smoother than a washcloth.
That's probably not a good thing to do.
No. So we do have a lot of technologies for treating the spine, and almost invariably our patients walk out with a smile on their face. And we have a policy: if you don't like my treatment, you don't have to pay for it.
Right.
So
wow, can't beat that.
And of course, we welcome patients to come in for the modalities and or spinal manipulation. You don't have to do both, whichever makes most sense for you.
And of course, you would consult a patient on what you feel would be a good starting place and an overall therapeutic path to take.
And I continue to offer the free 15-minute consult. If you have body pains, bring your x-rays in if you have them. If you have some kind of internal medicine issue, bring your lab reports in if you have them. I'll sit down and go over to them with you and tell you whether I think I can help you and give you an idea how I might approach helping you, and then either do a demonstration type treatment or send you off to get labs or x-rays. And sometimes we don't need the x-rays, but it's always good to have the x-rays. I had a patient that came in today for a free 15-minute consult, and after doing a physical exam, I said, I don't want to do manipulation on you until I see your x-rays, because I feel things that I don't like what I'm feeling.
Right.
So I'm very careful about making sure that it's safe to do a treatment before I apply force.
Right.
And when I say apply force, it's a carefully controlled force. Typically, I use what's called a drop table, or I use what's called an activator tool. And in both cases, they are techniques that use a controlled high velocity but low amplitude type of motion. So high velocity means it's very quick, but low amplitude, it is controlled by the mechanism to only move over a very small distance, and it can't move any further than that. So that makes it safe and well tolerated by most patients.
Right. So you're not just grabbing somebody by the head and snapping them around and bending their back in a 90-degree angle, or
no, we don't do that. We do have other techniques that we use from time to time. Dr. Gear pioneered what he calls manipulative surgery, which is just a way of stretching the spine, and we're doing it much more gently than Dr. Gear would do it. So patients that didn't like the amount of force in the past may be pleasantly surprised that the way that we can do it as well, that gives good benefit.
Same results, just a different method.
Right. And so if you are a patient that benefits from hanging upside down on a table, you might have bought one of those for your home, we can do a much more efficient job of stretching your spine than hanging upside down.
Yeah, that brings up a question, because I've often thought of getting one of those, inversion tables or whatever, and of course, the manufacturers will tell you it's the best thing since peanut butter, and everybody should have one. And I've never tried it, but what are your thoughts on those?
Well, my thought is that what we are doing is much more effective because we gently pump. In other words, we push down about that speed, let it up about that speed, down, up. And it's that gentle pumping that really moves the tissues.
Oh, okay.
And it's hard to do that with an inversion table.
Right. Well, I'll hold off on buying one then.
Yeah. Come by and see us at the office.
Yeah, it's probably a lot easier and probably a little more cost-effective, I would imagine.
Yeah, I would imagine. I don't know what those inversion tables sell for.
I don't know either, but I'm sure they're not giving them away.
Yep.
Good afternoon, and welcome to Doctor's House Call. Who's this?
Hi, my name's Debbie.
Hi, Debbie.
And I didn't get to hear your whole show. I just heard the end. So are you a chiropractor?
I am not a chiropractor. I am a naturopath that has been trained by a number of chiropractors as well as other practitioners. My license includes anything that chiropractic license includes, and I've been trained by Dr. Gear. I've been working with him since 2005. He was my teacher for 2 years, and then after I graduated, I joined him in his office, and I've been with him ever since.
Okay, I might check it out then.
Yes.
And what happened to Dr. Gear?
He had a heart attack, and he's currently recovering in his family home in Paradise Valley.
Oh, good. He's getting better then.
He's getting better.
Okay, do I have to lose weight before you can treat me?
I don't know. If you are very, very overweight, I have limited ability to do some procedures, but I'm sure that we can do something.
I'm about 15 pounds overweight.
Oh, no.
Oh, gosh, you want to...
No problem at all.
Yeah.
And that's being in a wheelchair.
Okay, so if you're in a wheelchair, then that might limit some of the treatments as well, but make a 15-minute free appointment, and we'll talk about what we can do for you after I evaluate your situation.
Okay, I appreciate it.
And again, the phone number is 928-474-7409.
You guys have a blessed holidays.
Thank you. Thank you so much for listening. Take care
Bye-bye.
now. Bye-bye.
offer 15-minute consults with myself, talking about either spinal problems, physical pain problems, or internal medicine problems. I've talked about both internal medicine tonight and various physical medicine treatments. The FAR IR sauna is considered physical medicine treatment, but it applies both to pain and to other internal issues. The distraction machines, the pulse the spine and so forth, those are physical medicine, but they're treating the spine. And so I encourage anybody that wants to come into our office and make an appointment. You can make an appointment by calling 928-474-7409. Tell them you want to have a free consultation with Dr. Weyrich, and our assistant at the front desk will take your name, put you on the schedule, and you can come in and fill out a little bit of paperwork so I know what's going on. If you have x-ray discs, bring them in, and I can take a look at them and make a quick read on what I see. If you actually want my services, then I would look more carefully at the x-rays, spend a lot more time at it, but I can make a quick read if you bring in x-rays or x-ray reports. If you have internal medicine issues like thyroid or something, bring your lab tests, and I'll be happy to discuss with you what I think I can do for you. And we'll take it from there. No obligation. You don't have to become my patient. I don't have to take you as a patient either.
Yeah, it goes both ways.
So if we're a good match, then we go forward. Otherwise, we shake hands and say goodbye.
All right. Now, should people call ahead to make an appointment?
I recommend calling ahead, but if you want to take your chances, you can drop in. I will be treating other patients as well, so there may be a small wait.
Well, you just don't you have a little thing? You can pick a number like a deli,
Well, we have a
serving number 54.
We have a sign-in sheet.
Okay,
but I have to give my paying patients precedence over the walk-in.
Yeah, that's true. Absolutely. All right. Well, looks like we're just about out of time. Any closing remarks, Dr. Weyrich?
Well, I really am looking forward to this, as many people as possible, trying this far infrared sauna. And Lori, our chiropractic assistant, is looking forward to trying it herself.
Yeah. It sounds like something I might want to try as well. So you never know. You may see my ugly mug in your office.
Yes,
in the next
if
couple
you need
of days.
a special accommodation for schedules so that it doesn't interfere with your radio show, give us a call. We'll work something out.
Outstanding. All right. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Weyrich. It's been an informative hour as always, and we look forward to next Tuesday's show. And you've been listening to Doctor's House Call with Chuck Holland and Dr. Weyrich.
You've been listening to Doctor's House Call, aired every Tuesday afternoon from 5 till 6 p.m. To call Dr. Gear after the show during his business hours at Payson Health and Wellness Center, 801 East Highway 260, call 474-7409 or go to his website, drbobgear.com. That number again, 474-7409.